What's going on, everybody? Another episode, another upload of Are You Prepared for This? And today I want to talk to you about inflation, price increases. This particular article is from Yahoo News. It's from Reuters actually, but it's questioning $10 toothpaste. U.S. household goods maker faces blowback on price hikes. It says, get ready for the $10 tube of toothpaste. Colgate-Palmolive Company CEO Noel Wallace said last week at an industry conference that the household goods maker sees its new Optic White Pro Series toothpaste as a type of premium product vital to its ability to raise prices, which will help drive profit growth this year. His remarks come when many consumer products companies are hiking prices as much as they can to offset their own rising costs. A trend that could continue due to the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, whose economic risks include driving up gasoline prices. So far, retailers and consumers seem largely unfazed by higher prices, but some lawmakers and consumer advocates argue that companies are excessively raising prices in order to fuel profits and return money to shareholders. And I would agree. A lot of the price increases that we see, the inflation, the hikes, I think it's to make up for lost time. You got to think there was a period where, shelter in place was a thing, essential workers was a thing. So sales were down. Then as you move on to recovery, we have supply chain constraints, shipping nightmares, challenges at the ports. So it's just becoming more and more difficult to actually get caught back up. I mean, obviously you can see it with shortages on the shelves. Most retailers can't get themselves in a position, automotive manufacturers, car dealerships, they can't get themselves in a position to have a surplus. Their shelves are empty, their lots are empty. Maybe not 100%, but to the point at which you can ID the bare spots on the shelves and the bare parking spots on the lots. If that's the case, these companies, they want to make their bottom line. They have to produce their portfolios for their shareholders. Otherwise, their stock values are going to plummet, and that's going to hurt the business long term. Then you add in the Russia-Ukraine conflict and the impact that it can have on gas prices, how much it can drive up the price of a barrel of oil. It's going to translate to higher prices on everything, because petroleum pretty much is almost in like 90% of the things that we use on a daily basis. As those costs increase in petroleum, oil, gas, the prices of these products will increase as well. Even if it's not required in the production of the product, it is required in the transport of the product. So it's just another reason why prices are going to go up. Now, are prices going up equally in the markup and the price increases and inflation as it is in the cost of the goods? Probably not, but that still comes back down to they're trying to make up for lost time. I mean, it's plain and simple, if you're running late somewhere, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to just do the normal speed to get where you're going and be late. You're going to try to make up for lost time by driving faster. And that's kind of where we are with these increases is, there are increased costs, but there's also, a deficit. There was a period of time where there was red in the ledger and they want it back to black. And they can do it. They can get it in most cases, especially with the simple fact that there isn't a surplus of products. It just means that the supply is so much lower than the demand that they can pretty much name their price. If it came down to the last gallon of gasoline, the last gallon of milk, The last box of cereal on the shelf, the last can of baby formula, they could name their price because, it's not like you're going to go somewhere else and get it cheaper, find a better deal. The demand would drive the price up. We see it in real estate. The housing market inventory cannot keep up with the demand for home ownership and even the demand for investors for rental properties. So what happens? A bidding war happens. Homes get offers, multiple offers. Of these offers, they come in above asking, and they just continuously drive the price up. Because if you don't get it, what else are you going to do? What else are you going to get? Where's the competition? There really isn't any, because we're behind. The country is behind in inventory, in supply. I was actually reading today about ADM, which is additional dealer markup on vehicles. And we already know that the used car market is unreal. Used cars no longer see depreciation. At least the used cars that are for sale right now haven't seen depreciation, because most used cars now, today, let's just say a desirable used car that is within 5 years old is probably selling for the same price or more than it costs brand new. Therefore, it has avoided depreciation. It is actually appreciating. But in addition to the appreciation, the dealers are adding ADM, additional dealer markup. Now, Ford and GM have warned their dealerships about these excessive markups. Not sure if anything is going to actually happen from that, or if it's just a stern warning so that Ford and GM look good to their shareholders. They don't really care what goes on as long as they continue to sell. But, it happens on new cars in addition to used cars, and some dealers aren't actually talking about it, or some manufacturers and some dealers aren't talking about it. But I was doing a little research today, and Porsche has ADM pretty much standard on new car allocations, especially, pretty much all their cars are desirable. They don't have very many. They have a Macan, a Cayenne, Boxster, a Cayman, a Carrera 911, and the Taycan. That's it. They don't have a huge lineup. They have a lot of options within the lineup, but they don't have a huge lineup. But it's not so publicly known or widespread, but their new car allocations, which they don't get many of, especially, they also have additional obstacles that they face, especially now that they lost that ship, the Felicity Ace. It burned down. It actually sunk, carrying Porsches, Volkswagens, Bentleys, Lamborghinis. But you add that, that just hurt the supply. It just continues to hurt supply. But their allocations, it's like a minimum $10,000 ADM, additional dealer markup, on an allocation for a base Porsche Macan. So you may be thinking to yourself, well, I'm not going to pay these inflated prices on these used vehicles because I'll just buy a new one. I obviously have to wait to receive it, but I'll get a new one, brand new warranty, and I'll pay less. But it's not publicly advertised, but if you actually go and try to order a new one, you're going to be hit with an ADM. And depending on which model you're going after, you're going to be really surprised at how much they're going to charge you for that. But this is kind of the way of the world now, until we can get back to some form of normalcy and higher levels of supply and inventory, where the producers and the resellers, the retailers, the dealerships, the vendors, everyone who then receives the product to sell can't continue to keep marking them up sky high. because there will be increased competition. Because, not everyone is going to be as greedy as everybody else. So if there's a super limited allocation of any particular good, the greed is kind of like standard, more than likely. But if we begun to see increased levels of availability and inventory and supply, somebody over here may be 10% less greedy than somebody over here. There's still greed occurring, but it's 10% less. So what are people going to do? They're going to say, you know what? I'm not paying your super inflated price. I'm going to pay his. He's 10% less inflated than you are. I'll just do that. But what are they going to do? They're going to start to get to be less than the 10% less than them. And it'll slowly start inching things back down to a normal level of competitive pricing and marketing and sales strategy and customer relationships and things like that. But until then, everything's going up. Everything's more expensive. Everything's hard to get. If you want it now, you got to pay for it. If you want it later, you still got to pay for it. And you got to wait. And we're going to continue to see headlines like this one and possibly $10 tubes of toothpaste at Walmart, Target, Costco, Sam's Club, wherever, until a massive correction occurs. But I want you guys to be prepared. That's why I'm bringing this information to you. If you found it helpful, give the video a like. I'd appreciate a comment. I'd like to see what you guys think about this particular situation or anything else that you're seeing out there as far as price increases and inflation and hikes and things like that. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you on the next. Thanks.